That's Jesus' question to the disciples after he washes their feet. Each of us may have asked a similar question. What's this foot washing all about? I think the foot washing demonstrates two things. One, who Jesus is, and two, how we should live in our community of faith as his disciples. In Jesus' day, although there was a paved Roman highway in Israel, most ancient roads were simple dirt paths. So it was customary for hosts to offer their guests water to wash their feet. Sometimes as a sign of honor or respect, a host would have his Gentile servant wash the feet of a guest. But it would be unheard of for the host to undertake such a menial task. So what does it mean for Jesus, the disciples' teacher and Lord, to take off his outer garment, wrap a towel around his waist, and get down on his hands and knees, humbling himself in the posture of a servant? On a symbolic level, the foot washing is a metaphor for the incarnation. The foot washing echoes the description of who Jesus is, as described in Paul's letter to the church of Philippi. Though he was in the form of God, he did not regard equality with God as something to be exploited. But he emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, being born in human likeness. And being found in human form, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Jesus knows that his incarnation is ending. The time has come for him to leave his beloved disciples and return to the Father. Jesus loves them. He calls them his own. While John's Gospel names only Peter and Judas Iscariot, a number of men and women who were part of the Jesus movement have joined Jesus for an evening meal in Jerusalem before the Passover. Jesus is going from disciple to disciple, washing their feet and wiping them with a towel he had tied around himself. He comes to Peter. Peter can't imagine Jesus washing his feet. Understandably, Peter protests, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus responds, "Unless I wash you, you will have no share with me." Interestingly, the only other time wash is used in John's Gospel is when Jesus is leaving the temple on the Sabbath and he sees a blind man from birth by the roadside. Jesus spits on the ground and makes mud out of the saliva. He spreads the mud on the man's eyes and tells him, "Go wash in the pool of Siloam." The man goes and washes, and he comes back able to see. The Pharisees consider making mud work a breach of the Sabbath laws, so they interrogate the man about how and from whom he received his sight. Gradually, during these interrogations, the man recognizes Jesus' identity. Finally, the man tells his interrogators, "You don't know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." Later, Jesus finds the man and asks him, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" The man answers, "Who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him." Jesus says to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking to you is he." The man worships Jesus, affirming, "Lord, I believe." The washing that cures him of his physical blindness is symbolic. Not only is the man no longer physically blind, but he is also no longer spiritually blind. What's this foot washing all about? Like the washing of the eyes of the blind man, the foot washing symbolizes a washing away of everything that would prevent us from recognizing who Jesus is. It's transformative. As Jesus tells Peter, foot washing is so important that without it, we cannot share with Jesus. It's an invitation to be washed into a full relationship with Jesus, that opens to us the promise of new and eternal life. After Jesus washes the feet of Peter and the other disciples, he puts on his robe, returns to the table, and asks them, "Do you know what I've done to you?" On a practical level, the foot washing is a demonstration of how we should live in our faith community as his disciples. He tells them, "I've set you an example that you also should do as I have done to you." The practical implication of the foot washing is that we are to follow Jesus' example and embody his love and service for one another. We're to follow the new commandment to his disciples and to all disciples to love one another just as he loves us. It's been said that to love one another as Jesus loves is to live a life thoroughly shaped by a love that knows no limits, by a love whose expression brings the believer closer into relationship with God, with Jesus, and with one another. In the early church, non-believers said of Christians, "Behold, how they love one another." That reminds me of a Christian hymn that was inspired by our gospel lesson. I'd like to close with some of the lyrics from that song. "We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. And will guard each person's dignity and save each person's pride. All praise to the Father, from whom all things come. All praise to Christ Jesus, his only Son. And all praise to the Spirit, who makes us one." And they'll know we are Christians by our love. By our love.